Welcome back to Sissy Maya. Make sure to subscribe to our channel to never miss an update. Additionally, consider subscribing to my Patreon to get access to these features, and much more. My name is Martin, and I have a story to share, a story of discovery, transformation, and the pursuit of authenticity. It's a tale that intertwines the threads of societal norms, personal identity, and the courage to embrace who I truly am. You see, I wasn't always the person I am today, confidently embracing femininity with every fiber of my being. No, my journey began with uncertainty, a longing to explore a side of myself that had long been suppressed by the constraints of societal expectations. Growing up, I never quite fit into the typical mold of masculinity that society laid out for me. While my peers reveled in rough-and-tumble games and sports, I found solace in quieter pursuits. I was drawn to the delicate beauty of flowers, the graceful movements of dancers, and the soft fabrics of my mother's dresses. Yet, with each passing day, I felt the weight of society's judgment pressing down on me, urging me to conform, to hide those parts of myself deemed too feminine, too unconventional. But as I journeyed through adolescence and into adulthood, I began to realize that denying a fundamental aspect of who I am was akin to suffocating my own spirit. I yearned to break free from the shackles of societal expectations and embrace the full spectrum of my identity, even if it meant stepping into uncharted territory. It was a gradual process, this journey towards femininity. It began with small, tentative steps, experimenting with different styles of clothing in the privacy of my own home, admiring the reflection that stared back at me in the mirror when I adorned myself with flowing fabrics and delicate accessories. With each passing day, I felt a sense of liberation wash over me, as though I was finally shedding the layers of pretense that had encased me for so long. Yet, the road to self-discovery was not without its challenges. There were moments of doubt, of fear, as I grappled with the uncertainty of how the world would perceive this newfound aspect of my identity. Would I be met with acceptance and understanding, or would I face rejection and scorn? But in the end, I knew that I could no longer deny the truth that lay within my heart. I was not just a man, I was a person with a complex tapestry of desires, passions, and dreams, and it was time to embrace every facet of who I am without reservation or apology. And so, with courage as my compass and authenticity as my guide, I set forth on a journey of self-discovery unlike any other. Along the way, I discovered a community of like-minded individuals who embraced me with open arms, offering support, encouragement, and a sense of belonging that I had never before experienced. As I delved deeper into my journey of embracing femininity, I realized that it wasn't just about the clothes I wore or the accessories I adorned myself with. It was about embodying a sense of grace, elegance, and poise, qualities that I had long admired in the women around me. Learning feminine postures became an integral part of my journey, a way for me to express my femininity not just externally, but internally as well. It was a process of relearning how to carry myself, how to move with a sense of fluidity and softness that felt both natural and empowering. I began by observing the women in my life, their subtle movements, the way they held themselves with confidence and poise. I studied the way they crossed their legs, tilted their heads, and even the way they held their hands. Each gesture, each posture seemed to convey a sense of femininity that was both captivating and inspiring. But it wasn't enough to simply observe from afar. I knew that if I truly wanted to embody these feminine postures, I would need to practice, to internalize them until they became second nature to me. And so, I began to experiment with different poses and gestures, practicing in front of the mirror until I found the ones that felt most authentic to me. It was a process of trial and error, of discovering which postures resonated with my sense of self and which ones felt forced or unnatural. But with each practice session, I felt myself growing more comfortable, more confident in my ability to express my femininity through my body language. I learned the importance of posture, how standing tall with shoulders back and chin held high could exude an aura of confidence and self-assuredness. I discovered the subtle art of crossing my legs at the ankles, of sitting with my back straight and my hands delicately folded in my lap. And I found joy in the simple act of walking, of gliding gracefully with each step, as though I were floating on air. But perhaps the most transformative aspect of learning feminine postures was the way it shifted my perception of myself. As I embraced these postures, I began to see myself not just as a man trying to embody femininity, but as a person who had always possessed these qualities within me, just waiting to be unlocked and embraced. Through the practice of feminine postures, I learned that femininity is not just about outward appearance, but about embracing a sense of inner strength, grace, and authenticity. It's about allowing oneself to be vulnerable, to express emotions freely, and to move through the world with a sense of openness and compassion. Learning to wear feminine clothing was another pivotal step in my journey towards embracing my authentic self. It wasn't simply about putting on a dress or a skirt, it was about expressing my innermost identity, challenging societal norms, and embracing the freedom to dress in a way that felt true to who I am. At first, the idea of wearing feminine clothing felt daunting. I had spent years conforming to the expectations of others, suppressing my true desires in favor of blending in with the crowd. But as I embarked on this journey of self-discovery, I realized that denying myself the opportunity to express my femininity was denying a fundamental part of who I am. I started slowly, dipping my toes into the world of feminine fashion with subtle touches, a floral scarf here, a pair of delicate earrings there. With each new addition to my wardrobe, I felt a sense of liberation, as though I were shedding the layers of conformity that had held me back for so long. But as I grew more comfortable with expressing my femininity, I began to crave more. I wanted to explore the full spectrum of feminine clothing, from flowing dresses to form-fitting tops, from elegant skirts to stylish heels. And so, with a newfound sense of confidence and determination, I set out to educate myself on the art of dressing in a way that felt authentic and empowering. I turned to fashion magazines, online forums, and social media for inspiration, immersing myself in a world of color, texture, and style. I studied the latest trends, experimented with different silhouettes, and learned how to mix and match pieces to create outfits that reflected my unique sense of style. But perhaps the most transformative aspect of learning to wear feminine clothing was the way it allowed me to reclaim my body as my own. For too long, I had been told that certain styles of clothing were off-limits to me simply because of my gender. But as I slipped into each piece of feminine attire, I felt a sense of ownership, a sense of pride in my ability to defy those outdated conventions and embrace my true self. Of course, there were challenges along the way. There were moments of self-doubt, of insecurity, as I navigated the sometimes harsh judgments of others. But with each obstacle, I found strength in knowing that I was living authentically, strength in the support of those who loved and accepted me for who I am. And as I continued on my journey, I discovered that wearing feminine clothing was about more than just fashion, it was about reclaiming my power, embracing my individuality, and celebrating the beauty of diversity in all its forms. Learning to do my makeup was a transformative journey that allowed me to explore and express my femininity in a whole new way. It wasn't just about enhancing my features or conforming to societal beauty standards, it was about embracing my individuality, celebrating my unique identity, and finding joy in the artistry of self-expression. Like many aspects of my journey, learning to do my makeup began with curiosity and a desire to explore. I started small, experimenting with subtle touches of makeup, a swipe of mascara here, a dab of lip gloss there. With each application, I felt a sense of excitement and liberation, as though I were unlocking a new dimension of myself that had long been waiting to be discovered. But as I delved deeper into the world of makeup, I realized that there was so much more to learn, techniques, products, and styles that I had never before considered. And so, armed with an insatiable thirst for knowledge and a willingness to embrace the unknown, I set out on a journey of self-education and experimentation. I turned to online tutorials, beauty blogs, and makeup artists for guidance, soaking up information like a sponge and eagerly putting what I learned into practice. I learned how to choose the right foundation for my skin tone, how to contour and highlight to enhance my features, and how to create stunning eye looks using a variety of eyeshadows and liners. But perhaps the most valuable lessons I learned were the ones that came from within, the ones that taught me to see makeup not as a mask to hide behind, but as a tool to amplify my natural beauty and express my innermost self. I learned that makeup was not about conforming to unrealistic standards of perfection, but about celebrating my individuality and embracing the unique qualities that make me who I am. Of course, there were challenges along the way. There were moments of frustration and self-doubt as I struggled to master new techniques or achieve the perfect look. But with each setback, I found the strength to persevere, to pick up my brushes and try again, knowing that the journey was just as important as the destination. And as I honed my skills and gained confidence in my abilities, I discovered that makeup had the power to transform not just my appearance, but my entire outlook on life. It became a form of self-care, a daily ritual that allowed me to take pride in my appearance and nurture my sense of self-worth. It became a form of self-expression, a canvas on which I could paint my dreams, desires, and aspirations for the world to see. Today, as I stand before you with my makeup carefully applied, I am proud to say that I have learned to do my makeup with confidence and skill. For I have learned that true beauty is not just about what you see on the surface, but about the courage to be yourself, fully, unapologetically, and beautifully, inside and out. As I journeyed further along the path of embracing my femininity, I found myself exploring another aspect of my identity, my attraction to men. It was a realization that unfolded gradually, like the petals of a flower unfurling in the warmth of the sun, and it brought with it a newfound sense of understanding and acceptance. For years, I had struggled to reconcile my feelings with the expectations placed upon me by society. I had tried to force myself into relationships with women, believing that it was the only path available to me. But as I embraced my true self and allowed myself to explore the depths of my desires, I came to understand that love knows no boundaries, not of gender, not of societal norms, not of anything. It was a liberating realization, one that filled me with a sense of empowerment and freedom. No longer bound by the constraints of heteronormativity, I allowed myself to be drawn to the men who caught my eye, who stirred something deep within my soul. And as I opened myself up to the possibility of love in all its forms, I made a vow to myself that I would only date men who accepted me as the woman I am. It was a non-negotiable condition, a line in the sand that I refused to cross. I had spent too long hiding behind masks and pretending to be someone I wasn't, and I was done compromising my authenticity for the sake of others. I knew that I deserved to be loved and accepted for who I truly am, and I refused to settle for anything less. Of course, this decision wasn't without its challenges. There were moments of heartache and disappointment as I encountered men who couldn't see past the superficial, who couldn't understand or appreciate the beauty of my journey. But with each setback, I grew stronger, more resilient, more determined to hold out for the love and acceptance I deserved. And then, one day, I met him, the man who would change everything. He was kind and compassionate, with eyes that sparkled with understanding and acceptance. From the moment we met, I knew that he was different, that he saw me for who I truly was, without judgment or reservation. Our relationship blossomed slowly, like a delicate flower unfolding its petals to the warmth of the sun. We laughed together, cried together, and shared our deepest hopes and fears with one another. And through it all, he stood by my side, unwavering in his love and support. With him, I found the acceptance I had been searching for, not just from him, but from within myself. I learned to love and embrace every aspect of who I am, confident in the knowledge that I am worthy of love and deserving of happiness. Today, as I stand hand in hand with the man who accepts me as the woman I am filled with gratitude for the journey that brought me to this moment. For I have learned that true love knows no bounds, not of gender, not of societal norms, not of anything. And with him by my side, I know that I am exactly where I'm meant to be, embraced, accepted, and loved for exactly who I am.